The voice of sharing. 旅人那乡
Hello, welcome to Drian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. So our nation, Malaysia, has been quite noisy for the past few months, and you know why. One of our scandalous news that has been going around, and yet the public was always put in the dark since then. But guess what? The National Consultative Committee on Political Funding, or we call it JKN MPP, has proposed to prohibit political donation from foreign interests to political parties and individual candidates as well. So Minister in the Prime Minister Department, Datuk Paul Loh Seng Kwan, who is also the chairman of the committee, he mentioned that the proposal was to safeguard against foreign influence on local politics as well as sovereignty of the nations. He added by saying that this includes that the corporation is not a government-linked corporation (GLC) and must not currently be in the benefit of any significant government contract or concession. I mean, what's your thought in this? Malaysia aims to bar foreign contributions for political funding. Is it really a wise move or not? On ASEAN Daily, we'll bring you daily updates and commentaries on issues and events that are impacting this region. I'm Grace Cho, and today, Friday, 18th of March 2016, we'll bring you the latest politics and the current affairs news from Southeast Asia. Our top story today. We have been discussing on the elections in the Philippines, and one of them, Grace Poe, who is a front-runner in the Philippines presidential election campaign, she mentioned that she favored relaxing restrictions on foreign ownership in utilities and media as a part of changes that she would introduce in the constitutions. So foreigners are barred from owning media companies in the Philippines, and they are also restricted to 40% ownership of public utilities. But according to Grace, within my first month in office, it will be a part of the agenda, the economic amendment of our constitution, which is a huge step forward when it comes to the Filipinos' system. And she was questioning, saying that why not allow more foreign ownership for as long as they employ Filipinos, and there is also technology transfer. I am not for land ownership, but I'm for media, for certain utilities, for academic institutions, and also for the medical profession, which does make sense so far by saying it out. But then we also need to look at the implementation and how all these plans will be executed by having foreign ownership, especially in the media industry. Will they make a lot of influence from a third party's point of view, but to be able to continue the Filipinos, the principles and the government system in their country? Well, moving on to the next news is about North Korea, which is quite has made a lot of organizations and also people angry about this news. North Korea fires a ballistic missile into sea. Is it a surprise? I don't think so. Well, they say that it's a missile launched off the east coast that flew about 800 kilometers and fell into the water. North Korea has not commented on the report. And of course, the U.S. defense spokesman later said a second missile was launched, but we aren't actually sure it's also coming from the South Korea's news agency. But again, coming from the U.S. President Barack Obama, he imposed a new sanction on Pyongyang after its recent illicit nuclear test and satellite launch. So there are unnamed sources saying that a second missile, like I mentioned before, it was detected, but it may have disintegrated in the mid-air. I mean, we also read a recent news about North Korea sentencing the U.S. students to 15 years hard labor. That was just a couple of days ago for severe crimes against the state. And there are also so much tensions from the North Korea, and it is uncertain whether they will listen to these global concerns and do something about it. both the US and South Korea, they are also holding their biggest annual military drills this month, which routinely generate these tensions. But this year, North Korea has threatened to launch this preemptive nuclear strike of justice against both US and South Korea. So not so sure whether North Korea is being more rebellious than ever before, or they just going ahead with what they've planned. Well, our last politics and current affairs today is about the Philippines, of course, along with Malaysia. These two countries majorly will suffer the most in ASEAN countries when it comes to China's economy, because these two countries heavily do rely on this gigantic country's economy until 2020. And of course, this is according to the working paper from the ASEAN Development Bank Institute, ADBI. So this study established a baseline where economic growth and other macroeconomic indication align with the projections of the World Economic Outlook, which was released by the International Monetary Fund in October 2015. So according to the paper, it says through the trade linkage and multiplier effects, the slowdown in China's economic is estimated to lower the world's GDP growth by 0.42%. So this means this stimulation results suggest that China's economic slowdown will create a moderate regional impact. And also excluding China, the average GDP growth of developing Asia as a whole would decelerate by 0.26% towards 2020. And if you talk about Southeast Asia, the Philippines and Malaysia would be the hardest hit, with GDP growth slowing down more than 0.40%. And that is due to their strong trade linkages with China. And in the Philippines and other economic more deeply integrated with China, the machinery, electronics, and the chemical sectors that will be more negatively impacted. And this is based on the stimulations. Well, talking about electronic exports of the Philippines, that will be significantly affected, largely due to the high participation of these sectors in China-centered Asian production chains. And we cannot deny that a lot of products are produced from China, especially when it comes to electronic products. And the Philippines, one of the countries in Southeast Asia, will be hugely impacted. And when you talk about the world economy, it's not so stable and uncertain at this stage. And this gigantic country, China's role in this is very important and significant to Southeast Asia. So my question here is, are we going to be forever victims of China's economy in the future or not? That's all from our ASEAN Daily today. Thank you for tuning into 3N ASEAN. For more updates on Southeast Asia, please go to our website at 3nasean.com. If you're on the go, you can always download our TuneIn app on your mobile. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels at 3N ASEAN and 3N ASEAN TV. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay tuned with ASEAN Daily, Monday to Friday, the same time at 12 to 1 p.m. GMT+8.